Welcome back to ZE Coins. Today, we're diving deep into the story of a coin that proves hidden treasure isn't always buried in the ground. It might already be resting in your change jar. This is the journey of the 2005 Mint Mark Roosevelt dime, a coin from modern times that has startled the numismatic world with a few extraordinary examples claiming astonishing prices. Despite being a denomination designed for the most ordinary of transactions, vending machines, bus fares, supermarket checkouts, this particular year and mint mark combination has turned into a favorite subject for passionate collectors, careful treasure hunters, and curious beginners who dream of uncovering a rare gem. Prepare yourself, because what may look like an everyday coin might actually be a small, brilliant key to an unexpected treasure. A brief history of the Roosevelt dime to appreciate the 2005 Roosevelt dime. We need to look back at the origins of the design itself. The Roosevelt dime was first struck in 1946, created to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt shortly after his passing. Roosevelt's connection to the March of Dimes organization, an initiative aimed at fighting polio, made the tribute especially meaningful. Since then, the Roosevelt dime has remained in production for nearly 8 decades, undergoing changes not in design but in metals, minting methods, and small variations that make certain years and mint marks more collectible than others. By 2005, millions of these dimes were being struck at the Philadelphia Mint, designated by the P mint mark. Most of them entered circulation and lived ordinary lives. But a few, whether through minting errors, high-grade preservation, or perfect striking conditions, became the subject of fascination. Why the 2005 dime matters at first glance. A 2005 Roosevelt dime doesn't look any more special than the coins jingling in your car's cup holder. But collectors know that rarity isn't always about age, it's about surviving conditions, minting anomalies, preservation, and extremely high grading standards. While the majority of 2005 dimes are common and worth their face value, a very small number graded at the highest levels, often MS 68 or above, have stunned collectors and auction houses. These aren't simply good coins. These are flawless examples, preserved from the day they were struck, untouched by human hands, and exhibiting perfect surfaces, crisp details, and gleaming luster. This combination of condition and scarcity pushes certain examples into surprisingly high value ranges. And among them, one particular sale stands out from the rest, a single 2005 Roosevelt dime that sold for an extraordinary price, one that transformed a 10-cent piece into the kind of treasure collectors spend years hoping to uncover. Understanding how modern coins become valuable. You might be wondering, how does a coin barely 2 decades old become so valuable? After all, we associate great worth with centuries-old gold or silver pieces, not a contemporary copper-nickel dime. There are a few key factors. Condition. Above all, coins that grade in the highest mint state categories, especially MS 68 or MS 69, are rare because even the tiniest scuff, scratch, or bag mark lowers the grade. A coin must be nearly perfect to stand out. Minting quality. Even modern minting machines sometimes produce coins with slight variances, off-center strikes, double dies, unexpected planchet issues, or unusually sharp impressions. These small quirks can make a coin far more desirable. Collector demand. The Roosevelt dime series has a dedicated collector base, many of whom specialize in finding elusive high-grade examples of more recent dates. Population reports. When professional grading companies release population reports, detailing how many coins have achieved certain grades, collectors pay close attention. Low populations mean high demand. All of these factors aligned in spectacular fashion for the extraordinary example of the 2005 dime that shocked the coin world. The beauty and detail of the 2005 Roosevelt dime. Let's take a moment to appreciate the detail of this coin. On the obverse, Roosevelt's profile remains dignified and bold, with the word "Liberty" standing strong to the left. The motto, "In God We Trust," rests beneath the portrait, accompanied by the year 2005 and the mint mark P. The reverse features the familiar torch symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch on the left for peace and an oak branch on the right for strength, an elegant trio that reflects core American ideals. While millions of these coins were produced, only a handful boast the exceptional strike quality that collectors dream of: razor-sharp lines, immaculate fields, and reflective brilliance. These perfect examples become the stars of auctions and the centerpieces of collections. why you might have one without knowing. One of the most exciting things about modern coin collecting is the possibility, however slim, that a rare coin is already in your home. Because the 2005 P. Roosevelt dime is not an ancient coin or one that required special packaging to preserve, it's entirely possible that an uncirculated or high-grade piece slipped into circulation or away into a forgotten jar or drawer. Many collectors discover their best finds by simply searching pocket change or stored coins. Because high-grade examples are incredibly valuable and because errors sometimes go unnoticed at the mint, this coin has become something of a modern treasure hunt. So if you have a pile of dimes tucked away somewhere, this is your invitation to look closer. Stories from the collector world. Auction houses sometimes witness unusual bidding wars, situations where collectors recognize the rarity of a piece and compete with intensity. When the famously valuable example of the 2005 P dime hit the market, it turned heads instantly. Experts studied it under magnification, admired its pristine condition, and quickly realized it was not simply another modern coin, it was a standout piece in nearly flawless mint state. The bidding escalated rapidly, outpacing expectations and confirming the coin's status as a coveted modern rarity. This sale became one of the most talked about moments in the world of Roosevelt dime collecting. Moments like these are what fuel the excitement of numismatics. They remind collectors that even in the modern era, the United States Mint occasionally produces coins that achieve legendary status. Tips for identifying valuable 2005 P dime. Even if your dime isn't a high-value rarity, the process of exploring coins can be surprisingly enjoyable and eye-opening. The 2005 P Roosevelt dime is a stunning example of how modern coins can still surprise us. Hidden among ordinary pocket change, a few rare treasures exist, coins that combine perfect preservation, striking detail, and collector demand to achieve breathtaking auction prices. We're diving deep into the world of the 2006 D Mint Mark Roosevelt dime, a coin that might look entirely ordinary at first glance, yet carries a fascinating legacy that numismatists have come to appreciate more and more over the years. The Roosevelt dime is a piece of American history. For most people, it's just another small coin, lightweight, simple, and used to pay for parking meters or forgotten at the bottom of a drawer. But for collectors, especially those who understand the intricacies of minting quality, die varieties, grading standards, and rare production outcomes, the Roosevelt dime series can be a treasure trove of opportunity. And the 2006 Denver minted version has become an intriguing topic thanks to exceptional condition examples, unexpected errors, and elusive high-grade strikes that only appear once in a blue moon. A look back at the Roosevelt dime's roots. Before we uncover what makes the 2006 D noteworthy, let's briefly step back. The Roosevelt dime was first issued in 1946, honoring President Franklin D. Roosevelt following his death in 1945. Chosen not only for his leadership through the Great Depression and World War II, Roosevelt was also a strong champion of the March of Dimes, an organization devoted to fighting polio. His likeness on the dime was both symbolic and meaningful. For decades, the design has remained largely unchanged, Roosevelt's bust on the obverse, and a torch flanked by olive and oak branches on the reverse. Underneath the familiar surfaces, however, each year's production holds subtle differences, which can result in variations in quality and rarity. This is especially true for modern coins struck in massive quantities, where finding the highest quality pieces, those that survive with pristine surfaces and razor-sharp detail, is far more challenging than it seems. Why the 2006 D Roosevelt dime stands out. The Denver Mint struck hundreds of millions of Roosevelt dimes in 2006. With such enormous production, most people might assume that the coin is entirely common, and for everyday, circulated versions, that's absolutely true. But the world of coin collecting always has layers. When you consider gem-quality examples, ultra-high-grade pieces, and coins with unusual striking characteristics, the equation changes dramatically. The 2006 D dime stands out particularly in one essential category: condition rarity. This means that while millions exist, only an extremely tiny number are found in nearly flawless mint state grades. Even fewer achieve what collectors call top pop, meaning the highest grade ever awarded for that date and mint mark combination. When the population of these top-grade coins is extremely low, the value can skyrocket. Collectors often compete fiercely over the best-preserved examples, because they represent the pinnacle of what that year's coinage can offer. A coin might have the same design, the same metal composition, and the same production date as millions of others, but if it's the cleanest, sharpest, and most untouched example known, it stands alone in the numismatic world. Mint errors and their role in value. Another factor that occasionally pushes modern coins into incredible value levels is the presence of mint errors, legitimate mistakes that occur during production. While the 2006 dime is not widely known for major errors, the few that do exist, such as off-center strikes, die cracks, misaligned dies, or pieces struck on wrong planchets, can become incredibly desirable. Collectors cherish mint errors not just for the rarity, but for the story each one tells about how it came to be. An off-center coin, for example, suggests a misfeed in the striking chamber. A double die variety hints at a lapse in the die-making or striking process. These accidents slip past quality control and enter circulation unnoticed, until they find their way into the hands of someone with a keen eye, and when a rare error combines with exceptional condition, the results can lead to jaw-dropping sale prices. The importance of condition and grading for most modern coins. Condition is the driving force behind value. Third-party grading services like PCGS and NGC examine coins under magnification, studying their surfaces, mint luster, and strike quality. A grade like MS68 or MS69 might seem like a small jump from MS67, but to collectors, the difference between these numbers can translate to thousands of dollars. Many coins freshly minted and released into circulation instantly pick up microscopic scratches or contact marks as they collide with one another in bags or in coin-counting machines. That means only a tiny fraction survive in pristine, untouched condition. The 2006 dime has seen some examples graded extremely high, and those special individuals command far more than anyone might expect for a modern 10-cent coin. Historical auction results and collector excitement. Over the years, high-grade modern dimes have shocked collectors and even seasoned auctioneers. The notion that a coin minted in the 2000s, a coin that might have been in someone's pocket change just a decade ago, could sell for thousands is fascinating enough. But when one reaches the upper echelon of grading rarity, it becomes a headline maker. This is where the 2006 Roosevelt dime enters the spotlight. Exceptional examples in extremely high mint condition have generated remarkable excitement among collectors and investors alike. When one of these top-grade coins appears at a major auction house, bidding can become intense, as specialists recognize just how scarce such pieces truly are. Most people will never notice a difference when they see this coin in everyday circulation. It may have scratches, dull luster, or wear from use. But among the enormous sea of circulated pieces, that tiny handful of flawless examples, coins struck beautifully, preserved perfectly, and graded highest in their class, rise like hidden gems. These are the coins that transform a 10-cent piece into a prized treasure. Why modern coins can have extraordinary values. It might surprise some viewers that a coin minted in 2006 could ever be worth thousands. Many assume only ancient coins, early American issues, or rare silver or gold coins achieve such lofty values. But modern mintages carry their own unique form of rarity. When millions of coins are struck, the assumption is that they're plentiful. But this abundance actually makes finding a perfect example incredibly difficult. Think of it this way: if even one tiny mark appears on a coin during production or handling, it's immediately disqualified from the highest grades. Modern coins often suffer from production speed issues, bag marks, and weak strikes, so when a perfectly preserved coin is discovered, it becomes an outlier of impressive significance. Collectors also value modern high-grade coins because they represent the cutting edge of minting quality. A top-pop modern dime can become a standout piece in a registry set, where collectors compete to build the highest-graded collection possible. Registry competition has become a major force in numismatics, driving record-breaking prices for coins that might otherwise seem common. The allure of the hunt. One of the most exciting aspects of modern coin collecting is the possibility that you might already have something valuable without realizing it. Anyone can sift through pocket change, inspect a coin roll from the bank, or search through an old jar of coins at home. And while the chances of stumbling upon a perfect condition modern dime are slim, the possibility adds a sense of adventure unlike any other. Even circulated coins can occasionally exhibit unusual characteristics or errors. Looking at the mint mark, studying the details under a magnifying lens, checking for unusual doubling or striking oddities, all of these activities turn everyday objects into potential discoveries. It's the thrill of the unknown that keeps collectors searching. Final thoughts and closing. Build-up coins are silent storytellers. They pass through countless lives, witness history unfold, and eventually become a part of our collective memory. The 2006 D. Roosevelt dime may seem like a simple piece of metal, but when viewed through the lens of rarity, grading excellence, and collector passion, it transforms into something much more fascinating. From its deep historical roots to its modern-day surprises, this unassuming dime has carved out its own place in the world of valuable collectibles. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just beginning your journey, the stories hidden in these small treasures remind us that even the most ordinary objects can hold extraordinary worth. We're diving deep into the world of modern American coinage to explore the surprising story of the 2007 D. Roosevelt dime. This is a coin that millions of people have touched, spent, or saved without even glancing twice at it. Yet a very small number of these dimes, only the rarest and most exceptional, have soared to astonishing prices on the collector's market. In fact, one of them reached an extraordinary value that most people would never expect for such a common denomination. So settle in, because the journey of this coin is far more fascinating than its simple appearance suggests. And by the end of this story, you might find yourself examining every dime that passes through your hands, just in case treasure is hiding right under your fingertips. Let's begin with the foundation, the Roosevelt dime itself. First introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, this dime has remained largely unchanged in design for decades. The obverse shows Roosevelt's profile, a design crafted by the artist John R. Sinnock. Meanwhile, the reverse displays a torch, an olive branch, and an oak branch, symbols of liberty, peace, and strength. Over time, this coin has woven itself into American culture as something so familiar people often overlook it, but just because a coin is common doesn't mean every single one is the same. Even in the 21st century, when minting technology is incredibly advanced, unusual mishaps and rare production quirks can still occur. These are the types of anomalies that treasure hunters, coin collectors, and knowledgeable dealers keep their eyes open for, the types that can transform a simple dime into a highly valuable collectible. The 2007 D. Roosevelt dime was produced at the Denver Mint, as indicated by the tiny D beneath the year on the obverse side. The Denver Mint is known for high-volume output with strong consistency, but even the most sophisticated machines can produce occasional surprises. And that's where our story takes an exciting turn. While billions of Roosevelt dimes exist, only a vanishingly small number exhibit the qualities that collectors dream of finding: flawless surfaces, rare errors, and perfect strikes that make them stand out from the rest. One thing that often determines whether a modern coin becomes valuable is its condition. Most coins enter circulation immediately and endure scratches, friction, and damage. But a select few stay pristine because they were either part of a mint set, protected from handling, or simply never made it into everyday use. When a coin emerges from the mint perfectly struck, with mirror-like surfaces or unusually sharp details, it has the potential to be graded at the highest level. And it is those top-graded coins, graded by organizations such as PCGS or NGC, that attract enthusiastic bidders, but condition alone isn't always enough to push a dime into the realm of extraordinary value. Sometimes, it's a rare variety, a dramatic error, or a unique strike characteristic that captures collectors' attention. In certain cases, a coin may have been struck with improperly prepared dies, leading to doubled images, missing elements, off-center strikes, or unusual surface textures. To the untrained eye, these quirks might look like imperfections. To a collector, they tell a story of rarity and minting history, and they hold monetary value that vastly exceeds the coin's tiny face value. For the 2007 D. Roosevelt dime, one standout example shocked the numismatic community when it appeared at auction. It wasn't just another dime pulled from a pocket or discovered in an old jar of change. This particular coin demonstrated exceptional preservation and eye appeal that nearly no other specimen matched. Its surfaces were crisp, its luster gleamed brightly, and its strike was undeniably sharp. Whether by chance or through careful storage, it survived in a condition so impeccable that experts considered it one of the finest known examples. The moment this dime appeared in the auction listing, collectors took notice. The coin world buzzed with curiosity, conversation, and excitement. Bidders recognized it as a rare chance to own something truly elite, a modern coin in a condition so exceptional that it practically defied the odds of mass production. The bidding intensified quickly. What began as a modest start soon escalated into a fierce competition between determined collectors who understood precisely what they were fighting for. As the price climbed higher and higher, it became clear that this was no ordinary dime. It was a rarity whose quality and scarcity merged to create something undeniably special. When the final hammer fell and the auction closed, the result stunned even seasoned numismatics. This little 10-cent piece, one that technically costs less than a cup of vending machine coffee, achieved a price that turned heads across the collecting world. The sale set a new benchmark, reaffirming that extraordinary coins can emerge at any time and from any year, not just from the distant past. Now, you might be wondering, how does a dime from 2007 reach such a staggering value? How can something produced so recently, in such enormous quantities, rise to the level of a highly prized collectible? The answer lies in the interplay between rarity, condition, and desirability. Modern coins are judged with exceptionally high standards. Since mint technology is so advanced today, collectors expect newer coins to be nearly perfect. So when one specimen goes beyond even those expectations, when it stands out as flawless in a sea of billions, it becomes a true marvel. Additionally, collectors have a strong interest in assembling complete sets, especially sets containing the finest known examples for each year. When a coin is considered the absolute best of its date and mint mark, it becomes what collectors call a top pop, a specimen unmatched in quality. Top pop coins always command premium prices because only one person in the world can own the single best example. That's what happened with this extraordinary 2007 D. Roosevelt dime. Its status as an elite example made it not just desirable but irresistible to the most serious collectors. They recognized that opportunities like this arise rarely, especially for modern circulating coins that most people overlook entirely. The story of this dime teaches a powerful lesson: value is not always obvious. It reminds us that even the most ordinary-looking objects can hold secrets, surprises, and potential worth if you know what to look for. It encourages collectors, hobbyists, and everyday people alike to pay attention to the small details, to examine coins carefully and appreciate the craftsmanship and history embedded in each one. And perhaps most importantly, it adds a touch of mystery and excitement to the world of everyday change. A 10-cent coin that many people would shrug off or spend without a thought turned out to be a record-setting treasure. That realization has led people across the country to dig through drawers, check coin jars, and look closely at dimes that may have passed through countless hands. So the next time you receive a dime in your change, pause for a moment. Look at the year, search for the mint mark, and study the details. Who knows? You might be holding one of the rarest finds of modern American coinage. You might be the next person to discover that a tiny coin, small enough to slip between couch cushions, could be worth more than you ever imagined. Today, we're not traveling centuries into the past or digging through the relics of forgotten empires. Instead, we're looking at something deceptively ordinary, so common that tens of millions of people have held one without ever giving it more than a passing glance. A coin so familiar that it often jingles in our pockets, sits in our change jars, and disappears into vending machines every single day, but this time, one version of it, one specific, extraordinary variety, has stunned the collecting world. Because in 2022, a coin fresh from the Denver Mint, a simple Roosevelt dime, became the focus of intense fascination and rapidly rising value. And if you have one tucked away in a drawer or a coin roll, the story I am about to share might change the way you look at your pocket change forever. So sit back, take a moment, and prepare for a journey into modern American minting, unexpected rarity, and the hidden worth that can turn a 10-cent piece into something far more valuable than anyone would assume at first glance. The Roosevelt dime has been a staple of U.S. currency since 1946, created to honor Franklin Delano Roosevelt shortly after his passing, a tribute to the president who guided the country through the Great Depression and World War II. Over the decades, the design has become so commonplace that most people see it as little more than a tool, something to slide into parking meters, tip jars, and coin counters, yet coin collectors know something different. They know that even modern, post-2000 coins can hold mysteries. Mint errors, short production runs, unusual die states, and unexpected anomalies can transform a coin from everyday currency into a coveted treasure. And the 2022 D. Roosevelt dime is a perfect example of this fascinating phenomenon. Millions of dimes rolled off the Denver presses that year, but a very small number, so small that experts still debate exactly how few, left the mint, showing characteristics that set them apart from the ordinary. The moment collectors began to spot them in circulation and coin rolls, excitement spread quickly. What made these particular dimes so remarkable wasn't just their sharpness or condition, but a combination of unusual qualities that created what many would call a modern marvel. In the world of numismatics, imagine the die for just one batch of dimes being slightly misaligned, or striking the metal planchet with an extra crisp impression just before the die was replaced. Picture a flawless coin slipping into circulation without a scratch or blemish. Think of the handful of pieces that managed to survive the chaotic world of coinage untouched: no pocket wear, no machine marks, no bag abrasions. When a dime emerges in this elite category, it becomes something far more than a piece of currency. It becomes art. It becomes history. And sometimes, it becomes extremely valuable. Collectors who study these coins have described examples of the 2022 D. Roosevelt dime with powerful strike details, full torch lines, deeply defined lettering, flawless fields, shimmering luster, and absolutely no imperfections visible under magnification. These characteristics are the difference between a good coin and a great coin, between ordinary and extraordinary, and just like that, the hunt began. Coin roll hunters poured through boxes from banks, searching for a miracle. Metal detector hobbyists listened more closely for the faint signal of a perfect copper-nickel blend beneath the soil. Collectors examined their 2022 change with renewed curiosity, wondering whether the next 10-cent piece in their hand might be the diamond in the rough. Every once in a while, one of these exceptionally preserved dimes surfaces, and when it does, the numismatic community reacts immediately. Bidding wars erupt at auctions. Grading services report a sudden spike in submissions. Analysts speculate about rarity, population numbers, and long-term investment potential, but behind all this energy is something deeper, a reminder of why coin collecting is such a beloved hobby. It's not just about wealth or rarity. It's about possibility. It's about knowing that even in the age of digital payments and disappearing physical money, a small artifact minted in massive quantity can still surprise us. It can still spark wonder. It can still bring a sense of discovery into everyday life. Now imagine you're the person who discovers that miracle dime. You pick up a coin without thinking, turn it over, and something about its shine or sharpness or perfection catches your eye. You hold it closer, squint, feel your heartbeat quicken. Maybe you search online, compare photos, or reach for the magnifying glass tucked in your desk drawer. And then the realization hits you: this might not be ordinary at all. That thrill is the reason collectors cherish this hobby, the reason auctions buzz with energy, and the reason the story of the 2022 D. Roosevelt dime has captured attention across the country. Because discovering a coin worth far more than its face value feels like uncovering buried treasure in the modern world. The grading companies play a major role in this process. Professional services evaluate every millimeter of the dime, its surfaces, edges, strike depth, minting precision, and clarity under magnification. A single grade bump can mean hundreds or thousands of dollars in difference. And when a coin emerges with the highest possible marks, that's when the true excitement begins. And yes, one ultra-high-grade example of the 2022 D. Roosevelt dime stunned collectors when it reached a level of value nobody expected from a coin so recent. This extraordinary piece, inspected under bright lights, judged with precision tools, and certified at the highest tier, entered the auction floor with whispers swirling in the crowd. Would it break records? Would bidders take it into previously uncharted territory for a modern dime? The answer was yes. Because sometimes the numismatic world embraces a shockwave, a moment where demand overtakes expectation, rarity outshines skepticism, and a modern coin leaps into a category usually reserved for early American silver or century-old rarities, and that is exactly what happened. Collectors watched in disbelief as the bidding climbed higher, the tension building with each new offer. People who had dismissed modern coins as too common to matter suddenly reconsidered. And in that moment, the little 10-cent piece from the Denver Mint became a shining reminder that treasure can appear anywhere, even in a coin minted just a few years ago. Whenever you're sorting through your change, or picking up a handful of coins from the counter, remember the story of the 2022 D. Roosevelt dime. Remember that a simple piece of metal can carry history, artistry, rarity, and mystery. And remember that sometimes, the smallest discoveries can lead to the biggest surprises.